So why do that? I believe the reason was simply that we were still figuring out how the two of us should be in a partnership. As for how we should present that to others, we still haven't figured that out. You told me previously that you had attended a party that was weird, so tell me about it. It's like Big Fox with this big gay man who was 69. They called him that because of his red hair and big old booty, and they knew he was G them over what was going on here. It's just a lot of weird dude. You know what I mean, y'all? Now that Miss J. Pinkett-Smith has revealed that Will had an alleged freakout session and has been having an affair with Diddy for some time, it appears that she is humiliating her husband once more. The Diddy situation has been messy, to put it mildly, but this puts a new twist on things because no one ever imagined that Jada would come out and say something like this. Things are going to get weird in their house, and young men are running screaming out of their mentoring. Meek Mills. Jada Pinkett-Smith had been taking a break from embarrassing her husband Will for a few weeks, and we all assumed that perhaps she was making a change and no longer embarrassing her husband. However, she hinted that the rumors about Diddy and Will's supposed freak-offs were real. Now, this is crazy because Jada can never prove that she is Will's biggest op. You know how people have been chatting about Diddy and Will for ages. They've been the talk of the town instead of just being buddies. Since they are both well-known figures in the industry, it's understandable that for a long time there have been rumors that Will is hiding something. After all, we all assumed that he was happily married to Jada and that they were the ultimate power couple in Hollywood, or at least that's what we thought, and that they had been together for about 25 years. But then the whole entanglement saga began, and we were shocked to learn that their marriage was far more complicated than we had ever imagined. So, we broke up, and then what did you do, Jay? You know, as time went on, I think I fell into a different kind of entanglement. The whole entanglement drama really damaged their public image, which is when people started to notice the real cracks in their marriage. At that same time, rumors started to circulate that Will was possibly having an affair and was using Jada as a beard. People felt that this would explain why Jay would cheat on him. The rumors became so loud that it was impossible to ignore the fact that things were much more complicated than anyone had initially believed. One among the first individuals to reveal them. When she disclosed to Cher Zampino that Will's initial benefits ceased since Cher supposedly saw him sharing a bed with a man, however, she wasn't the only one to come out. Trisha Paytas once called Will out for allegedly pressuring male dancers to sleep with him. How about worrying about your cheating husband, my male dancers? You know, when they didn't want to. How about talking about that Jaguar? Then, she came out to spill the tea. Alexis wrote that when Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him servicing his sugar daddy Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. She said that although he appears to be teaching the younger guys, he actually pushes them into relationships that traumatize them, and as a result, young men have screamed to leave their home while they are being mentored by him. Meek Mill's August was the only person that stayed in the house, and I believe he was quite sick and needed the care. Okay, so that's ugly, but does this whole thing about traumatized guys remind you think of another man who was recently exposed for allegedly torturing his girlfriend? Yes, we are discussing Sir Diddy, and the fact that he and Will have been friends for a long time makes this whole situation even more dubious than we had anticipated. I don't know if this is just me, but it seems incredibly coincidental that Diddy and Will were both allegedly involved in dubious activities with younger people at the same time. Diddy himself has been the subject of numerous allegations regarding his extramarital affairs, and in 2013, there were even reports that federal agencies were looking into him for allegedly sleeping with young boys. During a debriefing session with federal investigators, James Roseman, the former music manager turned kingpin, reportedly answered questions about entertainers' preferences, such as whether or not Shady D was having intimate relationships with underage boys. According to a U.S. District Court filing, the prosecutor also inquired about entertainers' intimate preferences, noting that not only Scene was having relationships with underage boys, but nothing came to light regarding this investigation, and despite this, people continue to believe that Diddy had a relationship with young boys. In fact, even Diddy's bodyguard Jean made the same statement. All of these industry people are aware that Diddy has been acting in this way, trying Chris Brown. There are a lot of stories in this industry about, those young boys that he had a Group B5 or something like that, trying to get them to do something. Orlando Brown also said that he did some mouth action of gashash, if you know what I mean. Did you give me the gashash you gave me? Yeah, sure. I mean, you gave me the, I love it, then his allergic track record of being in shady situations with young men. It's not crazy to wonder if there is something going on between them behind the scenes. Will's practically the poster child when it comes to download rumors, and Diddy isn't far behind. However, let's talk about Miss Wendy Williams and how she shaded Diddy by implying that he was playing both sides and using his parade of girlfriends and baby mama as a diversion from his true attraction. Wendy didn't provide Diddy with hard proof of his preferences. Instead, she was just sharing some juicy tea that she had heard, but it rubbed him the wrong way, and he went all out to get Wendy fired and nearly ended her career. Wendy Williams was her name once upon a time. And now it's all come full circle. But that's not all. After spilling tea on Diddy's antics with guys, his old bodyguard Gene remarked, "Yo, you, Gene, wash the door. Don't let anybody come through here." I said, "I wash the door." This isn't just speculation. There's a trail of these two guys sneaking around and getting up to some weird stuff. If I washed the door and he and another man ran out naked, I said that I ain't nobody told me that I saw that myself, but we're not just talking about two guys separately navigating the Hollywood down low scene. We might be looking at a tag team situation here. Because of his ostensibly strong marriage to Jada, Will fought the DL rumors for a while. However, after Jay came out to say that she and Will had been secretly separated for a long time and that the marriage was extremely messy before they split up in 2016, Will decided to live completely separate lives. It was not a divorce on paper, but it was a divorce, so yes, you have been apart since 2016, which is 7 years ago. In addition, the streets have been claiming that Young Miami is essentially Diddy's beard, so it's almost like an open secret, which further indicates that whatever was simmering between Diddy and Will has been cooking for a while. However, it turns out that Diddy wasn't the only person Will was allegedly having an affair with. According to Will's former assistant and longtime friend Bao, there's some juicy information about Will getting down and dirty with actor Dwayne Martin. I spilled the beans during an interview with Tasha K, discussing how he caught Will and Dwayne in the ACT saying that they were hooking up in Dwayne's dressing room. 3 minutes later, they told me, "Hey, you got eyes on Will. We need him to come watch this, so I'm running all over the studio." He's not in his room to get dressed. That's extra wild, but it gets even nastier because it turns out that whatever Will had ruined with Dwayne Martin was just the tip of the iceberg compared to the full-on freak fest. I go to the CAF and I'm like, but I see his car there and I'm like, where is this guy at? So I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room and that's when I see Dwayne and having with Will. Let me process that for a second. There was a couch and Will was bent over on the couch and Dwayne was standing up killing him murdering like murder. He supposedly had a relationship with Diddy. Before we get into Jada's revelations, let's first discuss Diddy's bodyguard. Cassie spilled some serious tea on her lawsuit and it appears that she wasn't just blowing smoke. If you thought that was the worst of it, well, Will's own wife Jada has dropped some hints that seem to confirm that her husband was allegedly involved in the freak-ups. Gene, who, according to Gene, also spilled some tea. Gene is no stranger to splashing some steaming hot tea on Diddy, and you have to give the man credit for that. Will and Diddy weren't just experimenting, they were going full throttle during these marathon freak sessions that lasted for days. In an interview, he undoubtedly has nice teeth. Gene revealed that Diddy wasn't just a spectator at the freak-offs with Cassie, it seems that he actively participated. He even gave Cassie a detailed checklist of all the things he wanted in AN score for the freak cups. However, it wasn't for Cassie rather, it was for him. He said, "You know in this lawsuit that you know Diddy, he enjoyed watching her get smashed by BBCs, so you know what you think about that. Do you think she was the only one getting banged by? Do you think this man had this woman search for online just for them to have with her?" We also said that Cassie wasn't the only one who wanted it or didn't want it. She was looking for the big black music for herself, as well as for someone else who we all know was in the room with her. Therefore, if he wanted to see it, and he wanted her to touch it, he might have thought that the other person in the room with her might also want to feel it. So you get the impression that Diddy was having them because they had to be for both of them because they were in the room together, yes. It's a freak-off section. Let's take a closer look at these fuck-offs because, according to Cassie's complaint, Mr. Combs provided Miss Venter and the escort with large amounts of before, to, and during the fuck-offs, which seemed to have been quite wild. It became customary for Miss Venture to have IV fluids in the days after a foo, in order to recuperate from the excessive narcotics pressed upon her. Miss Venture was given XG Mirage and alcohol in excess doses during foes, which helped her to disconnect throughout these awful experiences. Miss Venter had to get ready for an intimate event in her underwear. Mr. Combs also insisted that she wear white nail polish in order to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men he hired to have intimate relations with her. According to court documents, during the forced encounter, Mr. Combs would film Miss Venture engaging in intimate behavior with the hired escort using his phone, laptop, and tablet. He treated the encounter as a personal research project, adjusting the lighting with candles to frame the videos he took, and Miss Venture promptly erased any photos or videos of intimate acts if they were captured on her phone. If this is true, as reported by an insider, Jada not only thinks her husband and Diddy were intimate, but she also thinks they had these freak-offs. Mr. Combs has stated time and time again that he has several tapes of Miss Venture from foos. Jada is now connecting the dots, and she allegedly believes that there were freak-offs going on at those private parties. But I won't lie, I think it's a little strange of Jada to go about telling her husband's business on these streets. Insiders claimed that Will and Diddy used to party a lot, and that they never let anybody into their private parties because it was their thing. Fans, however, don't seem to be upset with Jada for exposing Will this time around. They wrote in their comments, "Now I see why Jada being stepped out on Will. No wonder Will Smith and Jada live separately. Just a thought, maybe Jada had her entanglement because Will had his daddy, and there's industry parties where you might be looking for the bathroom and you open the wrong door. See, some freak off going down, y'all. At this point, freak off is going to be in the dictionary next year. Perhaps Jada had this relationship because Will Smith was her father. But everything about this is just messed up. What do you think of Jada supposedly getting jiggy with Diddy? Leave a comment below and then watch the next video. I'm sure she's happy that the internet seems to be on her side this time.